So in terms of still on the same path of like working with people, you touched on earlier, you worked with your first brand really recently.
Yes.
Lyft. So how did that come about? Did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them?
Yeah. So I was actually taking some couples photos for Tasha, the girl who I buried alive. And we were thinking about where to go and where to shoot, and we didn't know how to get there. So it was kind of coincidental. I got Lyft on my phone, and how it works is brands hire marketing companies, and the marketing companies find people to shoot and people to do things and whatever else. So I got Lyft on my phone because we were going somewhere. And then that night I got an email from Amplify, a marketing company, Canadian marketing company. And they said, hey, we have a Lyft as a client. They wanted me to, it was interesting because they wanted me to go to Carleton because they knew I was a student, and they wanted me to give out like t-shirts and whatever else at this event and then post it on my Instagram story. And I emailed them back and said, hey, like, I really appreciate you reaching out. It is a little bit off brand for me though, because I don't go hand out clothes and post it on my Instagram story. Like, that's not what my Instagram is for. So I said, I feel as though I could create more impactful content for you and Lyft by doing this. And they emailed me back and they said, wow, that's awesome. Like, we love your idea. We'd love for you to take photos for us. And that's how that came about. So it was actually totally unrelated. And then, like I said, I just mentioned, I want to create more impactful content for you. I don't think my audience will respond well to, me in a field house handing out clothing. So I just kind of shifted the work a little bit, and they said, sure.
So I don't need to know how much, but was it like, did they offer you like Lyft credit, or did they just pay you cash? Like, what's the exchange like with that? It's just something I'm unfamiliar with. They
offered me a dollar amount to go to this event and hand out the clothing, to which I kindly declined doing. So when we started talking about taking photos, they said, okay, listen, we don't have a budget for you to take photos, but how we can kind of skirt around that is we'll pay you the same rate that you would have been paid at the event. You can invoice us for your shooting time, your editing time, your posting time, everything like that. So it kind of like it added up to more than what I would have gotten if I just gone to the event, because I have to edit, I have to do everything, right? So I said, sure, cool. It definitely was not what I would have liked to get paid or what I have been making recently, but it's my first brand deal. So you just take it. You know what I mean? Like with big companies like that, there's a few. If Mercedes ever asks you to shoot for them, they say they'll pay you $100. I don't even offer portrait shoots for $100. But if Mercedes said they wanted some photos for $100, I would say, hell yeah, like, let's do this. Because it's Mercedes, So, it wasn't as much as I would have charged, but first brand deal, so I thought, screw it.
You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still getting paid, so it's not like I'm doing it for free.
Yeah, and one thing you talk about, though, with charging for, like, the rate and stuff was posting time, and that's something I've never actually thought about. But there is a substantial amount of time that goes into doing your post, writing your caption, hashtags, all of it.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. And that's especially on their end too. That's something that they included in the package.
Yeah, well, they basically said, bill us for your work, and if they want me to post an ad, me posting and putting together the ad, that's just part of the work. So anything that's billable, anything that I do for Lyft, just bill them for it. Yeah.
I think another thing that's super impressive too, though, is the fact that you kind of pushed back. You said like it's your first brand deal, you take the money, like whatever, but you knew that it wasn't like good for your brand, the initial offer. So you I'm assuming you understood that there's a chance that they were going to come back and say no when you came back to them.
Yeah, totally. And I would have had to have just accepted that. I would have just said, okay, I'm sorry that we couldn't work together. There's ways to word things though that make it more appealing. I think it's less about what Lyft can do for me and more about what I can do for Lyft. So even though I'm putting in more hours than just going to this event, I'm giving them something that's more impactful, which helps their business, So I think there's ways of wording things that kind of help your case a little bit. But I sent that email off thinking 100% like, I'm not getting this gig. It's over. That's it. And the next one will come along eventually. And when it does, I'll take it. But, it was really good that they came back and they said, sure. So
That's
It's
awesome.
cool.
But so I think because something that I think is important too is making sure it fits your brand, like you said.
Yeah, totally.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, you need to make sure that you're not selling something that isn't you, especially with photography. Because I think if you start posting, like I said, I mentioned other photographers, they'll post selfies of themselves. Any photos that I post of myself, they're actual photos. They're not just selfies. But I know tons of photographers that will just take their iPhone, take a selfie, post it up their Instagram account to kill the ghost followers or kill the followers that don't really love their work. And I think that unless you're posting photography, you're just going to lose followers that even do care about your work. So I think it was really important. Like I said, I would have been okay not accepting Lyft's offer simply because it would have hurt my photography. And I think it's an investment. It would have hurt my Instagram page, and I think it's an investment. So you can't do things that are going to hurt your investment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
and just with the selfie that you're talking about too, just to kill the ghost followers, just I thought of something as you were saying that. It also just like messes up your aesthetic.
Totally.
Because it's like when you come to your page, yeah, like looking at the grid is something I always think about when I post too. And it's what's the grid look like? And if you have all these awesome pictures and then you just have like an iPhone selfie, like
exactly,
it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb.
It's questionable for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
People kind of think, what the hell? But yeah. So yeah, I said to myself, I'm not accepting anything except my work and my best work. And if they don't want it, that's too bad.
Yeah. But then too, when brands come to your account, like in the future, they've seen that you've done it before and they know, they know the standard that you hold with your brand work too now and like the kind of content you produce. Mm-hmm. So it's just a good, like kind of like a starting point, I think, for working with brands.
Totally. Yeah. And that's why I was pretty pumped when they came back and said yes, because it just opens up the door of opportunity. Right. And yeah, it'll be good. Hopefully there's more to come. It also, again, about the connections thing, we talked about it earlier, but getting those connections, I talked to the president of Amplify when he was messaging me. And I think just having that connection there is really great to have in case any other deals come my way or I'm looking for work. I can say, hey, I'm going to Iceland, like hook me up with a brand, you know, and maybe he would do it. Maybe not, but maybe he would. So it's all about connections.
I'm sure they have tons of clients too, right?
Yeah,
so,
hopefully.
Yeah, and so with like the laws and stuff, does Lyft now have the access because they were paying you to use your photos and like their marketing and stuff?
Not the Instagram photos. I did also I ended up going to that event that they were originally trying to hire me for, and I took photos at the event. So once those are edited and whatever else, I will take photos, or they will own those photos. But in terms of my Instagram photos, those are completely mine. I hold the copyrights.